Welcome back to My Life, My Songs with your host, Jimmy Fortune. Well, back to songwriting. What's some of your favorites and some of the songs that you've written, if you had a favorite?
I would say if I had a favorite, which I do have a favorite, it's I'm Already There.
Oh man, what a song. That song gets to me every time I hear it.
Well, I think that's because the way it happened, and we were gone for like 6 weeks, and I know you can relate to this, but in that hotel room, calling back home, I was talking to Lori, and Rhett was 4 years old at the time, and right before we hung up the phone, he said, "Daddy," in that squeaky voice, he said, "When you coming home?" And I just broke my heart, and it's when when you get feelings like that, that's when you need to pick up the pen and start writing a song, because that's when you just pour it out.
I think God, in His wisdom, He knows your heart, and I think that's why you're in the position you're in today, because you're great, not only a great singer, but the songwriting that you do, you're connected with the human spirit, because that's what songs are all about. That's what people want to hear, and you do that very well. Like I said, when I first heard that song, it took me the same thing, leaving my family behind and not being able to be with them sometimes. And people, they see you on stage and they look at you and say, "Oh man, what a great life." And it is a great life. It's something to be thankful for, and I am. But when you think about the times you missed the little ballet recitals, the ball games, and the birthdays and things like that, and anniversaries, your heart sinks. But you turn it inward and you put it outward with your songs, and you know what that does? It helps people. I just want you to know
Well, you and I, we've both seen it with our songs that we've recorded over the years, and I especially saw it with "I'm Already There," a song that I wrote from a personal conversation. And I remember writing it, and some of the people saying, "Well, it's too close, it's too personal, it's too inside." But then you see a song after you record it, and you see what it does, and you play it every night, for 25 years, and you see people crying. I'll never forget. Tim and Larry and I went. So when I left in 2007, we've been doing the frontman for that long, and we went overseas and played for the troops. I'll never forget. On an aircraft carrier, in the belly of an aircraft carrier, seeing 3,500 men and women singing "I'm Already There" back louder than I was singing, with tears in their eyes. And you could just tell what that song meant to them, but it helped make a connection to the ones that they were missing thousands of miles away. So that's what music's always been about. And especially for a songwriter, when you can touch people's hearts like that, make them laugh, make them cry, that's good country music right there.
Yeah, moving their emotions. Well, as your career's evolved, as mine did after the Statler Brothers, I came out with a country CD, and then my next, I felt like God was telling me, hey, do a gospel record, and I really felt good about it. So you just released a Christian record, and it's called "I Turn to You."
Yes, sir.
Now I know it's got to be personal. You got any personal stories you want to tell from that?
Yeah, a lot of the songs on there was produced by Frank Myers, a really great songwriter. Wrote "I Swear," co-wrote "I'm Already There," just endless songs. His first cut was "Just You and I" by Eddie Rabbitt and Crystal Gale when he moved from Ohio to Nashville.
Just You and I.
That was his very first
Just
cut.
Just You and I. Oh man, what a song.
You be Eddie, I'll be Crystal.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you put it that way.
No, but
I don't have the hair to do Crystal, so.
Frank produced "I Turn to You," but and those songs that we wrote and songs that I had kind of saved over the years, just kind of in the desk drawer. And there's one on there called "Hey God" that was really close to me. That again, it was one of those songs that most of the songs that I wrote over the years were either something that kids did or said, or something that happened in our lives. And "Hey God" was one of those songs that that my brother worked for Dr. Pepper for 30 years, still there down in Waco, Texas, or he's now in San Antonio, Texas now. But he had a long story short, he was driving home one night after work and pulled off the side of the road in his little Dr. Pepper truck, said he was going to get sick. He gets out, walks to the back of the truck. There was a dead skunk at the place that he was going to get sick. It's a very important part of the story, because if it hadn't been for that, he wouldn't walk to the front of the truck where he collapsed, and this car was passing his little truck about the same time. The lady said she looked in her mirror, saw my brother on the ground, and had her 2-year-old in the back seat, and said, you know, this crazy world, I don't know if I should stop or not, but something told her to stop. Anyway, she was my brother's angel that night, saved my brother's life, called 911. And I remember seeing Jimmy with the bandage around his head and just, you know, praying, you know, our family's praying that everything's going to be okay. And he recovered, fully recovered. And I guess about 6 months later, I was sitting at the piano and just thought about everything that had happened, that dead skunk, everything. And wrote a song about that called Hey God, and it's on the I Turn to You project.
Wow. At least you didn't write Dead Skunk in the middle of the road.
I didn't get the dead skunk in there.
The reason I said that, my kids used to get me to sing that song, but I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you, you know, when you think about how God intervenes in your life, not only your life, but others along the way, and how they affect you in your songwriting. Thank you for letting God leads you. I feel like you have really spiritually opened your heart up to what, you know, the things that He wants us to say and sing about, because it touches so many people, and you've used it in a great way.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
There are lots more great stories up ahead on My Life, My Songs. Thanks for coming on back to My Life, My Songs. You've earned 6 gold and platinum albums now. Not many people can say that. Several CMA, ACM awards, as well as BMI awards in songwriting. Now, but what do you consider your biggest accomplishment?
Oh, you know what? I mean, I would say, you know, all the awards are great, the CMAs and the ACMs, and you know, I cherish the Songwriter of the Year award. That, you know, probably just got lucky getting that, but I don't know. I just think my biggest accomplishment probably is just, you know, my family, you know, and you know, marrying Lori and having 3 beautiful children, and then making it through this crazy business, you know, for almost 30 years, and still together, and you know, you have kids graduating college and starting college, and
how many kids you got now?
3.
3. Awesome. Any
I'd say
grandkids? No, probably don't have any grandkids now.
No.
You're too young for that.
Well, I'm not too young, but our kids need to, you know, they're going to figure out where they're going first. But I say my family's probably my biggest accomplishment.
Wow, that's a really good answer right there, because I feel the same way about my whole career. You know, they're the ones that sit back and let us do what we do and still love us, you know, when we come home. Well, you know, in 2021, you announced that you would again be leaving Lone Star and pursue a career as a member of the frontman of country. How did all that come about? Because I know when the Statler Brothers retired, I had to go out on my own, and it was, you know, it was a tough thing, tough decision. But how did all that come about?
Well, to be honest with you, kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
And everything that happened in 2020 with COVID and all that, it gave me a lot of time to kind of sit around and think about, you know, where I was headed and what I really wanted to do. And I remember, you know, I told Lori and the kids, and I would say this in interviews, and I'd say, you know, here in the, and it sounds awkward or weird, but I said, you know, kind of in the twilight of my career. And Rhett goes, "You're not in the twilight of your career." I said, but Rhett, I said, I'm not going to do this forever. And I said, there's some things that I want to do right now. And last year made me think about, you know, not getting any younger. And like I said, Larry and Tim and I did the frontman, you know, just a handful of shows, would go play for the troops. The Kincaid agency, Bob Kincaid, really, Tim was in here meeting with him one day and talking about Tim Rushlow, and Bob and Tim kind of told him a little bit about the frontman. He goes, "Look, tell me a little bit more about the frontman." And that's kind of how it all started. Bob just kind of put his money where his mouth was and said, you know, I can book this show. And, you know, and I had a great time with Lone Star. I did. It wasn't that at all. Yeah. It's just that I don't know, there's some things I want to go do, and we're having a blast.
Well, you know, Tim Rushlow and Larry Stewart, my gosh, all 3 of y'all are those voices that kind of dominated
The 90s.
Dominated the
Probably
90s.
early 80s
You
was
turn the
very-
radio, y'all would come on when the radio wasn't even on sometime.
Well, that's funny, you know, that you say the radio, but we recorded one song so far, and we're looking at going back in and, you know, finishing an album. But we recorded a song called "If It Wasn't for the Radio."
Wow, that's a good.
I mean,
Did you write that or did you?
We didn't write it. No, we didn't write it, but it was perfect for us. It had 3 verses, 3 choruses, and it was just perfect.
Oh, good.
And it just talks about, you know, if it wasn't for the radio, you know, I would have never met that girl. I would have never moved to Nashville. I would have never done a lot of things if it wasn't for the radio. So, but you know what? We're having a great time, and I just want to have fun and enjoy what I do, and get out there and.
Well, I tell you, it always amazes me that the guy that I used to listen to on the radio and still do today, sitting here with me doing this interview, is genuinely as nice as I ever thought you'd be, because I've got to spend time with you over the years. And you have a wonderful heart, you have a lot of talent, and I know that you've got a great future ahead of you no matter what you choose to do. And I appreciate you coming here today and sitting down with me and talking, because I know people are going to love to hear your story. I know most people already know it, but there's some things that maybe you didn't know today that you got to hear. I know there's some things that I have, and I want to tell you I appreciate you coming.
Yes,
doing
sir.
the show.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much. All right. All right, there you heard it. Richie McDonald, my guest today on My Life, My Songs. Thank y'all for watching.